Hi, I'll go over how to do lab 6 with ECE 285, which is regarding inverting and non-inverting amplifiers. Okay, for the first part of the lab, we have an inverting amplifier where R1 and R2 are 1K and 3K respectively. For this demonstration, I'm going to switch out R3 from a 3K to a 5K. So the amplification or gain you will get is -5 from the circuit that I will be using. So in the circuit you're using, it should be -3. So I'll show you my circuit really quickly. There you go. So the top part is for the part 1. So here's my 1K resistor, and I'm using a 5K resistor as my feedback resistor, and I'm supplying 5 volts to both of my rails. And then I have a wire that's connecting each side of my rails together, so that way I don't have to worry about extra cables. And so make sure you use the right pinout for this IC. So the pinout looks like this. You can easily search up LF or LM. I believe it's LM. Just search up the name 356 and you'll find a pinout. You can just use this, and that's what I use. So I supplied pin 2 is my not inverting terminal. So I put 1K right there. And then I have the 5K going from the pin 2 to pin 6. And pin 4 and pin 7 are your negative voltage supply and positive voltage supply respectively. So I will switch to Scopy right now. Okay, so go ahead and connect. Go to moment. Okay, so now I'm going to supply 5 volts. And then I'm also going to supply the signal. So it asks for a sine wave with 40 hertz and 2 volt peak to peak. So let's input that, switch that to hertz, and then switch that to 40. 2 volts peak to peak, perfect. So I'm going to go and click run, and then now I'm just going to turn on my oscilloscope, and then I'm not able to see the complete waveform, so that means I just have to increase my time base. So the amplitude that I'm measuring for my input is about 2 volts, that makes sense. And the output that I'm observing is roughly 7.6 peak to peak. And I'm not getting 10 volts because the gain I said would be -5. I do see the negative phase shift, but a phase shift of 180 because of that negative sign. The reason why it's plateauing is because the op-amp can't supply enough voltage to get to that perfect 10 volts. There's going to be some voltage drop associated with the op-amp because of the voltage needed to power on it. So it's not like an ideal op-amp. So that's how you do the inverting amplifier. Now for the non-inverting amplifier, this is the schematic you should follow. So you have a resistance of 1K for R1 and 2K for R2. For my circuit, I'm going to switch out R2 as 100 and R1 as 100. So my gain would only be 100 divided by 100 plus 1, so a gain of 2. And I'm still going to supply the same input sine wave. So I still have everything turned on. Let me go and click single. But first, let me make sure everything's plugged in properly. Okay, so let me switch over to my oscilloscope. There we go. So I'll just show you my connections. So here is my feedback resistor connecting pin 6 to pin 2. Pin 2 is my inverting terminal. Pin 6 is my output terminal. Pin 7 is connected to my rails, so my input positive voltage. Pin 4, it might be hard to see right here, the yellow cable is bridging over to my negative rail, which is connected to -5 volts. And then I just have a 100 ohms connecting from pin 2, the inverting terminal, to ground. And my non-inverting, my channel 1's and channel 2's negative terminals are also connected to ground. Channel 1's positive terminal is connected to the non-inverting terminal, so my pin 3, and that's where my input voltage source is connected to. The yellow wire coming from the M2K, which is just fed through a green wire because I didn't have a yellow wire. And then finally, my positive, my channel 2 is connected to the output. So this cable for part 1 was connected to up to the R1, one end of the R1. I just didn't describe that, but that's how my circuit's set up. So with this, if you look, you see almost a doubling of the input voltage, which makes sense because my gain is supposed to be 2 volts. So everything looks good. So that's how you do experiment part 2 of lab 6, I believe. Yep. Okay. Good luck.